Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman Television. First, the headlines. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos confers an Oman Order First Class on His Excellency Yu Fulong, Chinese ambassador, at the end of his mission in the Sultanate. The Sultan welcomes the positive results that Yemeni parties reached in the consultations, stressing its continuity to support the efforts of the United Nations and the international community towards the Yemeni cause. And the Sultan signs 2 agreements for oil and gas exploration in the concession blocks number 51 and 65. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has sent a cable of greetings to Her Excellency President Salome Zurabishvili of Georgia on her being elected as the president for the country. Meanwhile, His Majesty the Sultan also sent a cable of greetings to His Majesty King Jigme Wangchuk of Bhutan on his country's National Day. His Majesty the Sultan sent a cable of condolences to Her Excellency President Sahle-Work Zewde of Ethiopia on the death of the Ethiopian former president Girma Wolde Georges. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos conferred a Oman Order First Class on His Excellency Yu Fulong, Chinese ambassador, at the end of his mission in the Sultanate, in appreciation to his efforts in serving the bilateral relations binding the 2 friendly countries. The order was handed over to His Excellency, the Ambassador, by His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Hamad bin Hamoud Al Busaidi, Secretary General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, when he received him at the Sultan's Embassy in the capital's Beijing today, with the attendance of His Excellency Dr. Sheikh Abdullah bin Saleh Al Saadi, Sultan's Ambassador accredited to China, and a number of Omani and Chinese officials. The Minister of Foreign Affairs issued a statement welcoming the positive results that Yemeni parties have reached in the consultations held in Sweden under the United Nations auspices and international community support. The Sultan expressed its thanks to the Swedish government for hosting the Yemeni consultations and thanked His Excellency Antonio Guterres, UN Secretary General, His Excellency Martin Griffiths, Special Envoy to Yemen, and the international team for the effort to hold the consultations. It also appreciates the cooperation and positive spirit between the consultation parties. The Sultan asserts, in compliance with the royal directives of His Majesty Sultan Qaboos, its continuity to support the efforts of the United Nations and international community to help the Yemeni parties to reach a political solutions that would bring security and stability for Yemeni people. The Technology Ideas Race for Omani Youth is concluded in Muscat by choosing 100 technological projects within the National Youth Program for Skills Development. His Excellency Sayyid Khalid bin Hilal Al Busaidi, Minister of the Diwan Royal Court, praised over the concluding ceremony. The Omani government signed 2 agreements to obtain the right to prospecting for oil and gas. The first agreement was signed with Occidental Oman for concession block number 51, while the second agreement was signed with the Oman Oil Exploration and Production Company for concession block number 65. It's worth mentioning that the area of block number 51 reached more than 10,000 square kilometers, whereas the area of concession block number 65 reached more than 1,000 square kilometers. According to the first agreement, Occidental Oman will invest around $14 million in the first phase, which will last for 3 years. According to the 2 agreements, both will carry out 3D seismic surveys and drilling 3 exploration wells in the first stage, another 2 in the second stage, in addition to concluding a number of geological and geophysical studies. On behalf of the Omani government, the agreement was signed by His Excellency Dr. Mohammed bin Hamad Al-Rumhi, Minister of Oil and Gas. Still to come on News Bulletin. The shooting competition in the wilaya of Nakhal is concluded. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. After 2 weeks of bruising negotiations, officials from almost 200 countries agreed on universal transparent rules that will govern efforts to cut emissions and curb global warming. The deal agreed upon the UN climate talks in Poland enables countries to put into action, the principles in the 2015 Paris Climate Accord. But to frustration of environmental activists and some countries who were urging more ambitious climate goals, negotiators delayed decisions on 2 key issues until next year in an effort to get a deal on them. UNFCCC Executive Secretary Patricia Espinosa delivered a message from UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres at the conclusion of the COP to the cheerful conference. She stressed that the international community must work on now to enhancing its ambition to defeat climate change. Dutch Foreign Minister Stef Blok today met his Jordanian counterpart Ayman al-Safadi in Amman for talks concerning migration, economic cooperation and fighting terrorism. During a joint statement after the meeting, Blok vowed to support Jordan in its hosting of close to 1.3 million refugees from Syria over the past years. He added that his country valued its relationship with Jordan, which he called a beacon of stability in a complicated region. Al-Safadi stressed that his government was grateful for the Dutch leadership position in support for an Israeli-Palestinian 2-state solution. He added that they are extremely alarmed at the latest escalation in Palestine, and they urged the international community to do what it has to do by ensuring enough pressure to stop this escalation. Egypt has announced the discovery of a private tomb belonging to a senior official from the 5th dynasty of the pharaohs, which ruled roughly 4,400 years ago. Antiquities Minister Khalid Al-Anani announced the finds at the site of the tomb in Saqqara, just west of Cairo, which is also home to the famed Step Pyramid. He said the exceptionally well-preserved tomb contains scores of statues of different sizes and colors. In recent years, Egypt has heavily promoted new archaeological finds to international media and diplomats in the hope of attracting more visitors to the country. Back in the Sultan, the Ministry of Health, represented by the Directorate General of Pharmaceutical Affairs and Drug Control, held 14th Annual Symposium on Good Pharmacy Practice. The event was presided over by His Excellency Dr. Hilal bin Ali Al-Sabti, Executive President of Oman Medical Specialty Board. We have details on that. A report by Saleh Khafan Al-Rahbi.
For medical competencies to improve, constant training is required to enable them develop their performance. Hence, and due to the rapid innovations and advancements in the field of pharmacy, the 14th Symposium on Good Pharmacy Practice came to enrich the pharmaceutical cadres in the Sultanate with the cutting-edge pharmacy practices.
I'm a population researcher. I study issues of access to care, cost of care, quality of care, and outcomes of care. And I'm also involved in looking at very innovative roles for pharmacists in the U.S. healthcare system. And I hope to share some of that information to the pharmacists here in Oman.
Every year, new drugs are added to pharmacies whose specifications, doses, and prescriptions need to be carefully identified in order to avoid any mistake while giving out these medications to patients. The sessions of the symposium focused on a number of themes related to pharmaceutical issues.
The Ministry of Health, Oman, especially the DGP and DC, has been taking a lot of steps to improve the quality of the pharmaceutical sector in Oman. They have looked after the industry as such. They have been conducting this workshop that is today to make sure that the quality of pharmacists is improved year after year. They do a lot of training, and it's a part of the continuous professional education program that they monitor.
Around 400 specialists and pharmacists from inside and outside the Sultanate took part in the symposium, sharing experiences on the latest updates on good pharmacy practice. For the Sultanate of Oman Television, Salih Bukhalfan al-Rahbi, Muscat.
Around 200 government employees trained in Petroleum Development of Oman, PDO, and a number of other private institutions within Khibra program graduated today, adopted by the Ministry of Civil Service. A graduation ceremony was held in the Governorate of Muscat for these employees within the program. The ceremony included visual presentations on the goals of the program that represented in exchanging expertise among the employees and acquainting them with various work environments and systems. With the participation of various teams from the wilayas of the Sultanate, the shooting competition in the Wilaya of Nakhal was concluded under the auspices of His Excellency Sheikh Saif bin Mohammed Al-Shabibi, Minister of Housing. More details by Saif bin Khalfan Al-Kindi.
These shooters came from different wilayas in the Sultanate, from the Fatuma Sandam gathering here in Nakha shooting field to compete for the last position.
This final stage was quite difficult, but we tried our best and worked hard to compete other teams.
Both heavy and light weapons are used for shooting using these traditional rifles. The targets located about 200 meters away, and reliable focus should be adjusted in order to shoot them precisely within few seconds.
Thanks to Allah, we could perform a great result, and that was as a result of our daily training for months.
Abdullah Al-Khairi was the winner of a BMW and 1,000 Omani Riyals after achieving the highest points, recording 199 scores during the shooting stage. Meanwhile, Nakhal Shadun got the first position in the rifle shooting, while the light weapon stage cup went to Al Musayyab Union team. Within the ceremony, there was the Heritage Village, traditional dancing and songs performed by school students. Saif Al-Kindi for English News, Nakhal.
Now for the general forecast around the Sultanate. Clear to partly cloudy skies prevail over the governorates of Musandam and the Sea of Oman, coast with the chances of scattered rainfall over the Hajar Mountains. Rest of the Sultanate will have clear skies with chances of clouds over the coasts of the Arabian Sea, and winds will be northeasterly to easterly light to moderate, and seas will be slight to moderate with a maximum wave height of 1.5 meters. This is the Sultan of Oman television. Before we enter tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos confers a Oman Order First Class on His Excellency Yu Fulong, Chinese ambassador, at the end of his mission in the Sultanate. The Sultan welcomes the positive results that Yemeni parties reached in the consultations, stressing its continuity to support the efforts of the United Nations and the international community towards the Yemeni cause. And the Sultan signs 2 agreements for oil and gas exploration in the concession blocks number 51 and 65. And with that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here in the newsroom and the studios, good night.